fluid that's going to leak.
Well, that was nice.
Sorry about any wind noise we're picking up. We're going to go ahead and move out of the shop, drain the water out of this thing, pull transcooler lines loose so that any stuff that we drop outside, not in the floor where we're going to have to be working and moving back and forth. Doesn't have a drain on the radiator. Oh yeah, it does. Way under there. We're not always 100% efficient at pouring things into containers, so we're gonna go ahead and pour this waste coolant in here, take it to Parts House and have them recycle it. Watch out, I'm bringing the rain.
Okay. That's good right there.
One eternity later.
Of course, with this install, even the radiator drain is in the wrong spot. It drains right out onto the edge of the frame and runs down the steering stabilizer in order to get it into the bucket. As you can see, not enough room for an adequate fan shroud, nor is there really enough room to get the bolts out of the fan without pulling the radiator out first. So here we are. Coolant's got to come out, then we can pull the hoses off, pull the radiator out to start the front clip removal. I'll crack this upper radiator hose loose to give it a little more air. Oh, that's about par for the course. The screw came out of the upper radiator hose clamp, and the clamp did not come loose. We'll recycle that one right over to El Basura. Still some debate on whether we go back with this radiator or do we take the opportunity to change radiator designs. We do have a few more inches of room in the front that we're going to be able to move. Have some hoses to clean up. With removing the mechanical fan, we're going to go to electric, but we're also have the ability to position the motor a little better for this next install. Thought process is we want to move the mount location, trans and everything forward an inch or two with the V6, seeing as we're going to lose all of this room up front, dumping the front two cylinders out of the V6 length, allow us to move the entire drivetrain, or powertrain rather, forward and end up with a little better rear driveline length. The rear driveline on this guy, we'll show you in a little bit, is pretty stinking short. So that'll help that out. It will give us a little bit of problems with the front drive shaft, but we think we may be able to, with a transpan modification, get in there and do some custom fab work on that and create a channel for that front drive shaft to get in there. We'll take you underneath here in a little bit after we get these alien blood out of here and roll it back in the shop where the floor is a little more flat and a little cleaner, so that we can get you in there to see what we're talking about with the constraints we're finding on sizes here. It's a whole lot of hurry up and wait. Still draining down the steering stabilizer. Luckily we are getting it all in the pan. Try to get all the coolant out of it so that we can seal this up before we take the transcooler lines loose, so that we don't contaminate the coolant that we're draining out with the transmission fluid that's going to leak.
Well, that was nice.
May have been a little bit left in the upper left radiator. Kind of par for the course on how we work. But also the reason that we're outside rather than inside, where everything's draining in the floor. This vehicle has been retrofitted. It's had a heater core in it. I'll show you after a bit the custom heater lines. Probably going to make some fabrication mods to that. I don't know that it's pulled a lot of structure out of the roll cage, but definitely does have some structure that's been pulled out of the roll cage from this modification we'll show you. It's a pretty ingenious design. The guy that originally built this Jeep slotted the tube in the roll cage and then used a Frenched in tube in the bottom right down by your feet that allows the roll bar to be used as a defroster for the heat to blow out of. Seeing as there was zero provisions in these vehicles for heater, obviously back when they were built, the thought process was not for creature comfort, it was for functionality and use on the battlefront rather than the driving around in the trails and being comfortable. Just give you a look, we did go ahead and pull the radiator out, got the fan pulled off of it. We are beginning the disassembly of the front clip. We've made the decision to split the front clip into the grille and the two fenders as we pull it off for two reasons. First off, we'd like to have the grille split after we're done, because we're going to deal with this surface rust issue and get a respray on that, get it back in primer. And secondarily, we don't want to have to hike this full metal front clip off by ourselves. Papa Tom is, you may have seen in some of these clips, wears a really cool belt. That is because his back is a little bit beat up. So we try not to carry around some really heavy stuff. And if you haven't picked up on the fact that these are not your standard width Willys fenders. These fenders have been sectioned and widened out so that the tire with the offset is pretty much covered, so we don't sling mud and rocks all up the side of this thing. So that's going to add some weight to it, and some weight that, to be totally honest, we don't want to pick up and carry around. We are going to move into putting you guys back on the tripod and get the grill split off of the fenders, and then we'll get the fenders off this thing and then bring you back in and give you another look at what we got going with the original installation and the changes we want to make with this thing. So we'll try to keep you informed on what we're doing and what we're trying to accomplish as we move on. Let's pull some bolts out. I'm hoping these don't have nuts on them.
Huh?
I'm hoping these bolts don't have nuts on them
No, they're screwed in with everything.
because they're right behind a box that sits in the frame.
I've had them out. I've had them out.
Bolted the mud flap to the old step
Yeah,
through the fender.
yeah.
Alright, give you a little update on where we're at. We have the front clip off, belts pulled off, wiring starting to pull out. Give you a little look to see what one of these looks like with no front end on it. For the radiator, power steering, alternator, those super long tube headers. Little sneak peek at a little repair we'll be making right there. You can see that old spot where the clutch master cylinder from where the original V8 conversion was done. I'm gonna fill that hole in while we're got all this stuff torn off of here, but we'll get a peek at that here in a couple videos probably. We're going to go ahead and pull headers off of this. Pop's going to work on that side. I'm going to knock the ones out of this side. Get the headers off of it. I got a stowaway alternator. Alternator bracket runs plumb up underneath the header. So we got to take the upper alternator bracket out before we can pull the header back out of the way. Even before we can lean it away from the motor. All of these goodies are holding us up. MIA 9/16 socket. There it is. Guess I should put stuff away. That's out. Managed to even do that without breaking the spark plugs off. Win-win. Got more holding on parts?
Oh,
Here, while I'm here, I'll go ahead and dig down in here and pull the hot wire off the starter so that I don't yank it in two whenever we decide to lift the motor out of this thing. I'm sure we'll have something connected that we should have disconnected, but at least it won't be that wire.
said it's going to be hard to do a compression check on it. Oh,
What is that?
no starter.
Well, you know, Armstrong started. Just turn them over, turn them over. Actually, we don't care whether it's got compression or not, it's going away.
Yeah.
Yep. Yahoo. Just in case you're wondering, there's nothing holding the muffler up.
Should have took the mufflers off of it.
This one's sitting on the ground. Want that back?
Yes, please. It's twice now. Kept
All right.
the hood coming off of it.
I told you we should have taken the hood off when we started.
Ready?
Feeling strong? Which way are we going to go when we leave here?
Just hand it to me.
Hand it to me. I got more room on my side.
It's heavy.
Yep, I got it. Alright, starter's out. Headers are off.
Was that the same starter as the one we pulled off of the donor?
That's a Summit Racing
Yeah,
mini high torque.
yeah. That should have been what was on,
The other one's a GM.
yeah.
This thing had a horrible mess. That one's got a good heat signature, but it was running really fat. Same thing with that one. Fuel foul.
Number 7 and number 8. So I'm thinking the cam's flat. Okay. It's loose.
Got a little more Alien juice coming out of it. Lots of it actually.
Should have knocked the soft plug out of the back of it, or the drain plug out of it over here.
Just make it pop a wheelie so that it stays in there for right now. Oh, hang on a second.
Look on the back.
Oh, I'm on rag up against tires. Crack in the floor. You know, pretty much anything that could be a pain in the butt, that's where I'm at. Oh, whoops, more juice. It's all good. I'm just going to stick a rag in the juice hole so that
Oh, yep, stick it in that hole and put.
it'll quit warping in the floor. Watch your toes. Alright, let's come down a bit so we can see if we can not smash her. So
That's good.
nice view of the trash can. Everybody needs a good trash can. Should be a carnival ride.
Charge people $1 for it.
Don't fall over that thing.
Try.
I'm really guilty after I get done laughing at you. I think your chingy might be fast aggravated. Okay, let's see if we can smash something.
It's got to clear the oil pan. I mean the oil filter.
Ta-da!
It's like brand new to me.
Almost like we act like we know what we're doing, but definitely not. And just like that, got a big hole in her heart. Transmission is just about new. Transmission's probably got 5,000 or less than 1,000 miles on it, 500,000 miles on it.
Maybe 1,000.
So transmission's in good shape. Had a new converter in it when we did that. So we're not going to play with the trans at all. May put a trans cooler in it. Thinking about maybe hiding it up underneath that right there. Running some lines in there with the downdraft fan. Little bitty guy like we run on the buggies. See if we can just bring those trans temps down a little bit. During the summertime in the heat, we spend some fair amount of time in southern Utah. We get a little bit of high trans temp when we're trying to get away from that. I think we're going to be way helped with that. Just based on the fact that we are getting rid of that V8, going to the V6. We've done some discussion today trying to ID this radiator that was in it. We think we might be able to just go to a stock GM version or a aftermarket all aluminum radiator to try to bring the temps down even farther. But we shall see as we go, and you're along with it. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us. Don't forget to click that subscribe button, and we'll catch you on the next one.